Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Amber Marshall about season 15 of Heartland coming to CBC. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we started, it's 15 seasons. Like, has it hit you in the cast and crew? Like, it's crazy.
This is the show that never ends, and we're all very fortunate of that. I think that, when you start a series, you expect, okay, we're going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 seasons out of this.
Yeah.
But when it keeps renewing every year, you're just like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And I think we reach a point where we don't even ask anymore. We're just like, okay, hopefully it's still going to go. I mean, we still love doing this show, and we've all become really close. So it's like with any job, when you love your job and you love the people you work with, it's not a job, it's not work. And that's what Heartland has become to all of us. And I think that it's something that's very rare in this industry. And when I speak with my fellow colleagues that are on different shows, they say it's not the same. It's a very different atmosphere because Heartland has morphed into its own identity.
Yep.
Since we've been going so many years, it's not just about, okay, we're getting together, we're going to shoot this series and then it's going to be done and we move on to something else.
Yep.
I feel like everyone involved with Heartland respects the longevity, and they say things like, well, when we're back next year, even though we don't know if we're going to be back, people just they look to the future. They don't just look at it as one season. They say, oh, that's a great story. Maybe we should talk about that for the next year or the year after that. And to me, that's what makes me love being on this show, because people really respect the fact that it's got its own kind of legacy behind it.
Absolutely.
We all hope that the show goes on for many more years.
Was there a point in time, it's funny because you mentioned, you don't know sometimes, you're just going in and a lot of people wait to see if they're going to be renewed. Was there a time, maybe like season 7 or 8, where, you were, there was kind of a groove where, like, when did it kind of like hit you that you were going to be doing Heartland and playing Amy for like quite some time? Like, I'm just curious, what season was that?
It still hasn't. What show am I on? I feel like
Heartland. You're on Heartland. You're Amy on Heartland.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just feel like this is my life, and I don't look at it as this is a job. It's just part of my life. And that's something I think that is also very unique to this industry, because a lot of people that they have to really work themselves up to get into a role because it might be completely contrasting to their everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for myself, I live in a log home out in the country. I have my horses, my cows, my dogs, my cats. My home life is very similar to my character.
Yes.
So when I go to work on Heartland, there's really not a whole lot of preparation involved. Some people have to, go and study with someone to really embrace a role and understand the dark side or the whatever it might be that their character is. But when I get into the role of Amy Fleming, I just put my cowboy boots on and I go out and I do my chores and I do all the things that I would regularly be doing. And then I go to work and pretend to do all those things that I would regularly be doing. So it's one of those jobs that fits so seamlessly with my everyday life that it doesn't feel like a job.
No.
And the biggest thing I noticed, because we film for 4 to 5 months out of the year.
Yep.
And then we've got a big chunk of time off. And so during my off time, for the first couple months, I really just enjoy my time at home because I have lots of animals. I have lots of things that do need my time. And when I'm busy at Heartland, I feel a little bit guilty that they're not getting the attention they need. So for the first few months, it's just hands-on, getting all the things I need to get accomplished on my own ranch. Yep. And then I go through a period of time where I say, I hope Heartland's coming back, because really, you get into this groove of being with these people, and there's not just the cast, but the crew has become very much part of our family because we've been together for so many years.
15 seasons, yeah.
And so a lot of the crew I get to hang out with when I'm not filming Heartland, because they're all local and I live in Alberta where we film the show. Mm-hmm. Most of the other actors, if not all of them, go back to where they live, whether it be Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, different places across Canada. So I don't see them as much. I still chat with them on the phone all the time. We keep in contact. But a lot of the crew I'll go over and hang out with on the weekends because they're nearby. I'm good friends with them. So it's like this whole community. And when we're not filming, we all talk about, so when do you think we're going to go back to work? Like, it's that idea of this is what fills our day. And so it's something that when Heartland ends, which I don't know when that's going to be, it's going to be very sad for not just the actors that are a part of the show, but all of the crew and all of the development team, everyone who has poured their blood, sweat, and tears into the show for over a decade and a half, which is, I mean, 15 years in any job. I don't care what it is you're doing. That's a big chunk of time.
Huge.
And it's also inspiring, I think, in this industry, because you're fortunate to be working for, maybe a month a year if you're an actor. And if you're really good, you're jumping on different shows. But to know that you have been a part of the same show, the same crew for 15 years is that, to me, I'm so proud of that. And I love this show and all the people that are involved in it for so many reasons, but also just the fact that I think we all genuinely have the same appreciation for this little family horse drama that just is the engine that could.
Yeah, absolutely. And, let's be honest for a second here too, Amber. I mean, there are fans of TV shows also, and there are the Heartland fans. And there would not be 15 seasons of Heartland without the Heartland fans. Absolutely not.
True. Oh, it's so true. And that's another thing that I love about Heartland is our fan base is so wholesome, so genuine, so loving. I can't imagine being on a different show, because when I hear the feedback from some of my friends that are on different shows, they say, wow, this fan base is really intense, and the things they say are quite rude and obnoxious, and they really want certain things for the show. And Heartland, I think, because it does demonstrate such a wholesome family environment and good values and morals, that the fan base that comes along with it shares those values, shares that wholesome attitude. And I love that, because I believe that I live my life very wholesomely. I'm very, I kind of just keep to myself when I'm not filming, and I live on my ranch with my husband and my animals. And to be able to have a fan base that is just so down to earth,
yep,
and genuinely cares not only about the show, but about us as people, I think is really important.
Very loyal as well. They're
Yes.
there to stay.
They are, and they support us in ways that even if they don't like where the stories are going, or I know that last year was a very traumatic season for a lot of viewers who
Absolutely
have been watching the show for years, and
Yep.
then all of a sudden we kill a main character, and that was extremely dramatic. And they were still there and supportive. And yes, there was a few people that were up in arms and said, I'm never watching Heartland again. You just killed my favorite character. But
yes, the
even
uproar
some
on
of
social
them-
media for that was pretty
it
pretty
was
hefty. Yeah.
It was intense.
Yeah.
But even some of those people who were quick to react, and I think because they were hurting, a lot of these people, this Heartland is so real and has been in their homes for 15 years that they feel such a deep connection with these characters. And so they were hurt. And when people are hurt, sometimes they lash out and they say things that they wouldn't normally say or do. And I relate that to animals. I've got two very sleepy dogs in the
I
background.
was about to say that's awesome.
What are you guys doing? Midday nap.
Both of them. That was awesome.
But with animals, if an animal is hurt or injured and you go to touch them, they might lash out at you. They might bite you. They might do things that they wouldn't normally do if they weren't in that state. So that's how I understand animals better than I understand people. And I think that will always be the way. But with the Heartland fan base, I noticed a lot of people were quick to react when season 14 first aired.
Yep.
And then if they stuck with us, many of them said they wouldn't, but I think many of them still did. And they saw how that season was played out. and to know that we weren't just kicking a character to the curb. We actually really wanted to value and remember that character in the best way that we could, and honor that relationship, honor that death of a character. And that's why I think that this season is going to be a real healing season, and a season that the fans can appreciate, and to start getting back into the Heartland groove again, because Heartland is just such a feel-good show.
Yeah.
And I know that last year it was really hard on people, and it was also coming at a time when people were already vulnerable because of the pandemic, because of all the lockdowns. Everyone was 100%. Already feeling a little bit caged up. And then their favorite show that they know they can go to for just a feel good,
and one of the go-to characters.
Exactly. All of a sudden it turns upside down on them. And this was not planned because of the pandemic. And a lot of people were like, how could you do this in a time when we were all so fragile and vulnerable? But we have to remember that this season was created a year before, and this was before the pandemic hit. All these stories were written. And so it was.
People sometimes don't realize the timelines. Absolutely.
It's true. And I know that it came at a really hard time.
Yeah.
But that's why I believe that season 15 is kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. It's all of these characters. They've gone through that grief. They've gone through that, just that horrible shock of losing someone so suddenly.
Yeah.
And now season 15 is everybody kind of getting back into that motion and moving forward. And it's a great season.
For sure. And before we wrap up, you've been playing Amy Fleming for 15 seasons now. Is there one thing that you enjoy about the character that kind of stands out to other things? Like, is there one characteristic or one storyline or something about
the
Amy?
Horses?
Yeah, the horses. Is there something you like that kind of stands out that you could share with us a little bit about that character?
I love being a horse person myself. I love being able to try different disciplines, to explore the horse industry and get access to some of the most incredible horse trainers imaginable. Some of the coolest. It would be like if I could compare it to, say I was really into sports cars, right? And then I was on a show where I got to drive a different sports car on a track every day. It would just be like, this is the best job ever. And so that's me with horses, is I love horses. I've grown up with horses, and I get to experience all of these incredible beings in different scenarios. You know, I get to jump one day, I get to go rope the next day, I get to barrel race, I get to work with cattle, I get to all of these things that I love, and I get to do that every day just in my day job. So for me, this is an absolute dream job.
Oh, for sure. Amber, I wanted to thank you so much for taking some time to chat about season 15 of Heartland. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's my pleasure. And I love making the show. I love being a part of the show. And so if viewers continue to enjoy Heartland, then we're here.
Yep.
And I hope that's the case.
Season 15 on CBC. And in terms of social media, there's an Instagram account, like an animal Instagram account that you have, I believe, right?
Yeah. So when I started Instagram years ago, I said, I am not a selfie person. I am not a person who likes to take pictures of here's my breakfast and here's my lunch and here's what I did on the weekend. But I love animals, and I'm surrounded by so many incredible animals, whether it be on set or on my own farm. So I decided, I came up with the Instagram Amber Marshall Farm, and I just wanted to have just all the things that I get to see and interact with. So
Absolutely.
Yes, there's cats, there's dogs, there's my horses, my cows, my chickens, my ducks, my rabbits, my alpaca, you name it, it's probably on.
And that's Amber Marshall Farm?
Yeah, so it's Amber_Marshall_Farm. And
people got to follow that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's such a joy for me, and I love my experiences that I have just day to day with my animals. And if I can share that and put a smile on people's faces, and I just feel like in today's world, there is so much media that's being pushed on people, and a lot of it's very negative.
Yep.
And so I've always taken the direction that if it makes me smile, I'm going to post about it, because I hope that it makes you smile too. And
that's a great way of looking at it.
That's kind of where I'm at. So I really enjoy it, and I enjoy the interaction with all of not only the Heartland fan base, but the world that it's opened up in social media as well. People that have never even heard of the show, they'll start following my account because they like the cute cat pictures.
Totally.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, you're on a show. That's cool." So it's been a lot of fun for me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much. And everyone is going to be able to see season 15 of Heartland on CBC, which is awesome as well. And
yes, and if you don't have CBC, you can get the CBC app, CBC Gem.
Yep.
And it, because that's a lot of people have said to me, I don't have cable, I don't have CBC, I'm not going to be able to watch it. You can watch it for free. Just download the CBC Gem app, and you can connect it right with your TV if you've got a smart TV, and or you can watch it on your computer or your phone or your device. There's so many different ways to watch it, but you have no excuse because it's free. And if you're watching this, you have something that you can watch it on.
Absolutely. You heard it here. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Amber Marshall from Heartland and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.